Hi guys, this is Dormouse03. I am here with my friend Iron Praetorian. Say hello.
Hello.
So he's kind of nervous because he hasn't recorded himself before, but he's going to be awesome. We play a lot of games together and talk about stuff a lot, and so I thought it would be fun as I wanted to do some recaps of some games that we saw at E3 and talk about some things that we're looking forward to since we'd had some good discussions about those things. I thought that it might be cool to have him on here with me. So, welcome.
Hello.
All right, so I think the first thing that we wanted to talk about is the big one,
Fallout 4.
Fallout 4. So, was this something that you were expecting to come out as soon as it is?
No, I was expecting it maybe the first quarter of 2016, but it was a nice surprise to see it before Christmas this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Bethesda did a really good job with the reveal of this because it had been teased and there had been like that website and rumor and speculation and all of that stuff, but they really did it right by announcing it and being like, boom, it's coming out in a couple of months. And I feel like that's a really good way to build some excitement for your game to where it doesn't feel like hype starting for something several years before you've even got any gameplay or whatever to show.
Yes, exactly. It's nice to see them uh, put something concrete out, like gameplay, and to show some of the concepts behind it and what you can expect.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than a vague trailer that isn't even gameplay, that you kind of know the proof of concept but have no idea what the game is going to be about, or the gameplay, or the setting.
Right. Yes. So, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you saw this presentation? Like, what was the first thing that sort of stood out to you about the game?
I think the first thing that stood out for me was the fact that it looks like we're going to have some pre-war content, as in to see the world before the apocalypse, to see the world before the bombs dropped, and also see that how that affects the character that we are and how they end up surviving and being present for the post-apocalyptic scenario that is Fallout 4.
Right. Yeah, I think that it's really cool that they're showing the before the bombs dropped world. And it looks like from what they showed, you get to spend a little bit of time in that world. And it's kind of your tutorial section, sort of like the first sections of, the other two games, the Fallout 3 one, where you were walk as a baby and sort of growing up as a child. That was your little section. And then in Vegas, I can't remember exactly what it was. You did those little tests for the doctor and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
And then you
Um,
go out and get shot, and then the real game starts from then.
right. And so it seems like a cool way to do it. I liked the character creator, the way that
Yes.
you just sort of sculpt their face and then you can swap between the husband and wife and then it makes the baby and so you have your little family and the guy from Vault Tech comes and talks to you and that's how you select your skills and stuff and I don't know, it just seemed like a nice little tutorial getting a flavor and a feel for the world before
Yes.
the bombs dropped and while easing you into the mechanics of the game.
It's also nice to see a character creation screen that isn't just a lot of menus that you need to scroll through, because you feel that you've spent 2 hours making the character you'd like, and then you're able to play the game. It's a nice feeling to be able to say, do it in half an hour, and you haven't
Mm-hmm.
wasted time because you really want to experience this new world and see what it has to offer.
Right. Yeah, it just felt really intuitive. Like, instead of a lot of slidey bars that change things that I'm not really sure what they mean, you can just, like, take the nose and go brrrr, and then it's, like, looks similar to how you kind of wanted it to. So, that was pretty cool. So, after something happens, we aren't sure what. I assume something goes wrong in the vault as to why you're the only survivor coming out of there, and there's some kind of like cryogenic freezing or something that takes place that to allow you to survive that 200 years.
Yeah, because I believe each of the vaults is built for a different reason. So maybe this vault was built to research cryogenic freezing, and that's maybe why
Right.
you're the only one that survives.
Or potentially like cloning or something,
Yeah,
where you aren't the actual person from the beginning, you're a clone of them, and but you have his memories or something like that.
that will definitely be interesting to find out.
Absolutely. So I wanted to talk for just a second about the changes that they made to the character. So he's voiced, or he or she is voiced,
Yeah.
and also they put in, I guess, several different names, or a bunch of different popular names that people might name their character. And so when the robot speaks, he actually says Mr. Howard, or that's what he named him in the demo. But apparently you can, he actually responds and says your actual name, which is pretty neat. And I don't know if it's only the robot that does that or if it's other characters in the world, but that's something that I've wondered whether it would be possible to do for a while, whether when you name your character, they can do something so that the other characters will be able to say your name, rather than a generic.
It's whether they have the ability to do that with like every name that someone would name their character, whether someone would go out of their way to name them obscurely in the hope that whatever characters wouldn't be able to pronounce them, or whether they'll just give you a limited number of names that you can choose from, so that they've guaranteed that it will be useful within the game.
Right. Or you could choose either or. So you could choose from these names and they would say your name, or you could name yourself something else and they wouldn't say it.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But I thought that was a cool little touch.
Yeah, I think that is a nice concept. The fact that the protagonist talks now, which they seem to be doing more in games these days.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like, for example, like Fable 2 to Fable 3.
Right. Exactly. Which is pretty cool, I think. Or like if you look at older RPGs, you just select the text of what you want to say. So say Dragon Age Origins versus Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition, where the character is voiced.
Yeah. And that also leads us well into what they've done with the dialogue this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where you can have conversations in first person or third person, and you have more of a dialogue wheel rather than a set menu
Mm-hmm.
for what you're going to pick, which I guess can speed up the dialogue process, but it also doesn't give you as much of an ability to predict exactly what your character is going to say in the conversation.
Right.
So I don't know whether it's going to be it leads from the first dialogue wheel into several other dialogue wheels, and then you can go back to the first one to choose different options.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're investigating in the conversation, you want to find out as much information as possible, or there'll be like one dialogue option that will end the dialogue, and others that will make it branch in other directions. That'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think that is likely what they're doing. It seems like sort of a Mass Effect type, a version of the Mass Effect dialogue wheel. Which I think you hit on a really good point with that. I mean, it could be both. There could be both positives and negatives to it. On the negative side, you don't know as much about exactly what you are gonna say. So sometimes I know in Mass Effect or Dragon Age, I would pick something and then be like, oh no, that wasn't exactly what I thought that was going to be. So there's that. But then on the other hand, it does also give you the ability to have the voiced character. So I don't know.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see once the game is released whether our theories are proved or disproved.
Proved or disproved. Yes, indeed. All right, so you want to talk about the doggy?
Yes. The Dogmeat 4.0.
Mm-hmm. 4.0.
Well, that's Fallout 4.
Yeah, so he's very cute.
Yep.
And hopefully you get to name him or her.
Also looks like they've overhauled the companion controls, so you can actually get him to do useful tasks for you, like attack enemies or access objects, I believe, or move objects.
Or like bring you out. I think he was like, go get the wrench and bring it here. And so you can like select different things and have him bring it to you.
It might also be interesting if he's able to like go into areas you can't, like through a small gap, and you need him to retrieve an item for you, like a
Right.
key
Yeah.
to open a door in front of you, or to, pull a switch
Mm-hmm.
that turns off some electrical trap or something, or a security system.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I think that there's a lot of potential with something like that for you to be able, and it makes the companions feel more useful if there's
Yeah,
enough, because for me, like, they were in the other games, the companions were, they served the purpose of being pack mules to carry all my stuff, that
yep.
all my spoons, and just to have them around to hear their dialogue and whatnot, but they weren't necessarily 100% useful.
You would also use them as fire support in certain
Yeah,
situations, which was
certain
useful.
ones, like dog meat, was always far too fragile. He would just die.
Yeah,
But certain ones were definitely useful in fighting.
yeah, like the mutant that you can pick up if your karma's high enough and
Mm-hmm.
has a large Gatling laser at
Yes.
some point.
A large Gatling laser is always helpful.
I wonder if there's a possibility of having multiple companions again, because you could have Dogmeat and another companion in Fallout 3.
Right. Yeah, you could have one non-human noid companion and one humanoid companion.
I think it was also the same in Fallout New Vegas, because you could have the like semi-android dog
Mm-hmm.
and another character, or the small floating
The iBot.
iBot.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So that would be cool. Hopefully you can, because I did like that, having a couple, rolling around with a couple of different buddies. You
Yes.
know. So that was cool. All right. So how about the crafting system? There's lots of ability to craft and customize and build lots of different things. So they showed off being able to make settlements. They showed off being able to make weapon modifications and power armor modifications. So what do you think about all that stuff? And are you more excited for one of those things than the others, or you like all of them?
I like all of them. I'm excited for them adding sort of like a more complex world, so you can build a settlement, get
Mm-hmm.
people to move in, have to defend it against like raiders and attacks and disasters and whatever. But also, I'm curious to see whether if you leave the settlement for a set number of time, like you're away for a month,
Mm-hmm.
will it change over time? Like, will some houses become unoccupied because people move away or get damaged, or will it remain relatively the same? Or will you be told, like through your Pip Boy, oh, your settlement's under attack, come back and help defend it?
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm imagining, because it seems like you can probably fortify it and build certain things and have like maybe some Brahmin, some
Some sort
chickens,
of like farm area,
some kind of little farm
Brahmin,
thing.
three-headed chickens.
Yes, exactly. You could make it like different things. So one could be industrial. Maybe you could have different people living there. So, have different jobs and stuff.
It'd be nice
And
to have your
designate
own
what those
personal
are.
vendors.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have like someone who offers like repair services and also like weapon parts and such, and then someone who's like a medic.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you'd have to discover them in the wilderness to be able to send them there, or whether you could like pay a certain amount of money to have someone try and recruit somebody that you
Yeah.
needed.
Like
I'm
put a
curious to
put
see
up a
how
message board,
complex.
medic wanted, or
Yeah,
something, and then after a little while, someone takes the job or whatnot. Yeah, that would be really cool if you could recruit people to come live there, or if through some of the random side quests, people that you come across or people that you save or help, you could say, hey,
yes.
yeah, head over to my settlement. You'll be safe there, and we'll give you a job, and all that good stuff.
And they may also be encounterable in like the random events that you had in Skyrim, where
Mm-hmm.
there'd be like some guy walking some Brahmin across the world, and you can get him to take them to your settlement instead, or
Mm-hmm.
you save somebody from a pack of Yaogwai.
Yao Guai. Yeah. Tame a Yao Guai. Have it at your settlement, then all of a sudden it gets loose and starts killing everybody. Come back and everybody's dead, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, Yogi, why?"
Same to you, boo boo. But
So,
also, the ability to be able to customize your own power armor to
mm-hmm,
suit your playstyle would be better because I play more as a close combat character
mm-hmm,
than weapons, like long range weapons. So it might be
mm-hmm.
nice to be able to, buff your melee damage or like damage resistance.
Yeah, and I usually play as like a sneaky, stealthy type person, and it would be nice to, I don't know about this, but it would be nice if you could customize all the armor, not just the power armor.
Right,
So
yeah.
if you could customize like your leather armor and like, let's fortify it here, and do something here, because they really, I think they only showed the power armor, but even if it was power armor, make it maybe a little bit lighter, make
Yeah.
it out of lighter materials and that kind of thing.
And then the payoff for that would be you'd have lower defense because the armor wouldn't be as thick.
Hmm. But you could maybe, move around a little bit better or be a little bit more stealthy, or have like a cloak. Ooh, that would be cool.
Cloaking device would be a nice addition, as long as it's not too OP.
Well, yeah. So that would be cool. Um, and I think being able to customize. I like the crafting stuff. So like you find things in the world, you break them down to their base materials, and then you can use those materials to build stuff.
Yeah, because the amount of miscellaneous items I collected in the other Fallouts, and they really had no use other than the scrap launcher, and a few of the select one were useful for building some of the weapons, like my favourite, the shish kebab.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's nice to see some more of those items. Like it feels like almost any item that you get in the world could have a purpose.
Yes, and also I'm also curious to see with what they showed for the weapon modification system, whether it also applies to melee weapons as well, because they showed the long range weapons being you can change this base weapon into X number of different versions,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't see any of the melee weapons like the super sledge or
Then they
the.
had a bat with like some saw blades on it.
They did. I completely missed that.
Yeah. So I think it seems like it's all the weapons you can modify in some way or another, which would be cool. Have like
Yes.
what I really want is like a katana, like a sword thing with some electricity on it, and just
Yes. Or even one of the super sledges with like electricity or fire.
mm-hmm. Yeah, would be awesome.
Can you
Bow and
imagine doing
arrow.
like a
I want a bow and arrow. No, I don't want to. You
that
don't really
fires
need a bow and
electric bolts? Yes, okay, I'll go with that.
arrow. Okay, we'll go with that.
Or sleep
Um,
sleep darts might be interesting.
Sleep darts would be interesting. It takes like 15 of them to put down a super mutant.
Or turn them berserk.
I wonder if you'll be able to still sneak up to someone and put a grenade in their
They
inventory.
You better be able to do that because that was
Yeah,
always fun.
it was hilarious. I don't know why they would take it out, but they wouldn't.
No, but like in Assassin's Creed where they took out the ability to use people's human shields in Unity, it's a useful ability
Yeah,
that they just removed for no reason.
right. So yeah, let's hope that they don't take out any of the good stuff. I do also like the fact that it seems more intuitive and more you're more able to create your own space, because I always tried to decorate my room, or like my house, my home base, and a lot of times when it would be hard to like place things on the shelf exactly the way that you wanted them to be, or like I'd try to like put my sledgehammer up by the door or something like that, and then when I'd come back everything would be sort of flopped all around, glitched through the floor, stuff like that. So hopefully it'll be a
Yeah.
little bit better.
You want the ability to be able to customize your house in whatever suits your playstyle. So if you've collected a lot of resources,
Hmm.
you want somewhere to put it, or if you want the ability to have like a weapons display case or a bookshelf that is self-contained and isn't gonna chuck your books all over the floor.
Hmm. Yep.
It's definitely a nice addition.
So yeah, I'm super excited about all that stuff, I think, and being able to I think I wasn't as excited about the settlement creator. I said settlement really funny just then. The settlement creator um until I heard you talking about it just now, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that does sound really cool." So,
Yeah, it's it has so much potential,
yes.
and it's going to be like a customizable home base basically.
Yeah.
So you could literally just have your house and then not worry about anything else, I guess.
Mhm.
Or you can build some like giant galactic empire.
Right, where you have all these Brahmin caravans going between them and
It would be interesting to see if you can have multiple home bases, or whether you can set them up in any area, or whether they'll be just set places that you can dismantle, and other ones that are like story based will be the same because you don't want to interfere with story progression
right.
because you've dismantled a building.
Right, that was important for the story. It seems like because he said there are lots of locations over the world where you can make settlements, so it seems like there are specific places where you can do that if you want to. But it's not like, well, you can just sit a house anywhere. So
Yeah, from what they said, I guess it's to do with the foundation of the house has to be there for you to be able to build on that foundation.
right.
And I'm assuming you can't build a foundation yourself.
Probably not, which makes sense, and I kind of like that because that way you wouldn't be building. I don't know. This isn't Minecraft, you know.
No,
Like it's nice to have that flavor and that element. It feels a little bit like what was that expansion for Skyrim? Hearthfire, Hearthhome,
Hearthfire,
Hearthfire, where
where
you.
you could build your own houses, move your kids in.
Mm-hmm. And there were like three of them, so it sounds sort of like a better version of that, just with more customization and more locations and that kind
Yeah,
of thing.
I wonder if that's why they created Hearthfire for
Probably.
Skyrim, to see whether people would warm to the idea of that and then implement it as a larger concept in Fallout 4.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like that makes sense. They're like, "Oh, we have this cool idea. We want to, incorporate that. So let's do a version of it, try it out in this world, and then people seem to like it. Cool. So we'll do a better version of it the next game." So, yeah, it seems cool. All right. So anything else that you wanted to mention here?
I think the graphics,
Yeah.
because they're more stylized,
Yes.
which I think will probably weather the test of time better than them attempting to go for, a more realistic graphic style.
Yes.
I mean, like for example, the Halo 2 cutscenes look amazing,
Mhm.
but over time they may not look as good. Whereas stylized gaming, like The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, the stylized graphics on the cell shading look better than something that came out around the same time as it with age.
Yeah. I think that's definitely true, and I think that I'm beginning to see more and more games doing that because I think you're right for exactly the reasons that you said that it weathers the test of time better because it's more it's that art style rather than trying to look super realistic, but it's still very detailed, which is I
Yes,
think cool.
yeah. It may be simplified graphically, but the detail in the simplified graphics is still there.
Yeah. So it still very much feels like a living, breathing world with all of this detail for it that I can get immersed in without, trying to be more realistic than they potentially could have been.
Yes. Also, would like to talk about the fact that we can summon invertebrates
Yes. And jetpacks.
and jetpacks, which will give us more mobility. And who doesn't want to have a large helicopter with a big machine gun to be able to shoot enemies from the air?
And I wonder if you can customize those as well, like put different types of turrets on there. So you might have a laser turret versus a bullet turret versus like a grenade launcher or
Yes. And whether if you have a companion, they could man a turret the other side.
oh, that'd be cool.
And whether you could pilot them yourself or not.
Mhm.
I don't know whether you would be able to. It seems like something that you'd summon and ride to a location and then
Yeah. Well, it seems like trying to put in too many new mechanics might
overwhelming.
yeah, well like trying to put in vehicles that you can drive and fly and that kind of thing might be a little bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't I feel like with these games they want to keep the quality high and they don't want to put something in there that's a mechanic that they haven't quite figured out yet. Something that I've always wanted for a Fallout game is like a motorcycle and to be able to like ride a motorcycle around, but I understand why they wouldn't put something like that in there if they couldn't do it well.
Yeah. Or also a small flying vehicle would have been nice as well.
Mhm. Yeah. So, but we get jetpacks,
Yes.
which is awesome.
I guess that you could class that as a small flying vehicle.
Yeah. You're the vehicle.
Yeah. Part of the vehicle.
So yeah, more mobility, more versatility, always cool.
Yeah. This game has a lot of potential and I'm looking forward to playing it on the release day.
Yes, me too. It's definitely a day one purchase for me, or a pre-order. So, absolutely.
I guess there's also the app for the Pip-Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I own a smartphone, but it might be nice as a
Yeah. Well, and it might be
alternative.
something that it might also be something that would be a PC app as well.
Yes.
So, like a program that you could have on your laptop or on your computer, that you can look at your stats and manage your inventory and that kind of thing. I think that's very cool.
Because you could manage your stats while you're rummaging through some derelict building without having to open the menu. Just the idea of being able to not have to open the inventory on there so you can like dual screen it.
Yeah, which would be cool. Or imagine like if you could play those little video games on the app or on your computer instead of in the game.
Yeah,
like
because I'm assuming there'll be an achievement associated with something to do with the
I'm
Pip-Boy.
sure. Like play a certain number of probably at least there will be a collection one, so like collect a certain number of these. And there may even be some associated with getting a certain score on this specific game or something like that. So, hopefully the mechanics of those is good.
I guess we'll find out when we play it.
Yeah, because mini games like that they can be a little hit and miss.
Yes, they can. Because they tend to not have so much effort put into the mini games that are within a game.
Right.
Or they just become infuriating.
Right. Yeah.
Like the drinking game in Watch Dogs.
Oh my god. Yeah. So, I suppose we'll see when it comes out, but I'm super excited. Was there any final thoughts from you?
I can't wait for release day.
Yes, me too. So yeah, this is definitely hyped for this one. I'm super excited, and it sounds like you are too. All right, so those are our thoughts on Fallout 4. Let us know what you guys think about it, and get super excited for November 10th.